I'm a furry. My parents think I have been possessed by a demon. Also, please hit the subscribe button.
This might be a bit lengthy because it takes place over the course of years. EM, entitled Mom ED, entitled Dad EB, entitled Brother and B, Brother, not entitled. I'm 20 male to female as of this current moment that I'm writing this. This all started at 11. This is when I kinda started to form my own identity up to this point, for the most part. I followed everything my parents asked of me down to a fine point. They are very religious and strict, getting worse over the years. During this time of identity forming, I encountered the furry fandom, a group I proudly stand with today. I took some time getting to know my new friends and also started learning more about myself. For about 4 months, everything was fine. Then my EM did her routine check of devices. Every once in a while, she'd take me and B's phones or tablets and search through them. My mistake was not knowing sooner that my parents were close-minded folks. They searched my tablet and found an app called Amino. Now, Amino during this time was a good app for communities, and I was in the furry Amino. There was no NSFW because it broke the rules. When they found it, they were enraged and said that Satan was trying to get to me through furries. My ED searched my room and gathered my first furry drawings and threw them in the trash. The tablet was taken away, and I wouldn't see my friends for another 6 months. Some remembered me, some forgot me. During the event of first discovering I was a furry, my EPs decided to spank me to try and teach me a lesson that furries were ungodly and satanic, as well as predators. Over time, I began to become more secretive and being able to make a mask to make myself seem happy to my EPs for the next 5 years. It was rinse repeat. Parents find out new thing. They hate new thing. They punish me for not following the ways of their God, one time getting beat with a prop oar. Yes, the one you paddle a canoe with. Around this time, I questioned my gender. I stopped talking with others for some time for some self-finding stuff. I had always leaned more feminine since before I was properly sentient and constantly every few weeks wish I were born a female, as well as being pansexual, panromantic. I found a gender-fluid partner in the youth group of the church I was made to go to who was also a furry. We both didn't agree with the church or its beliefs, but our families made us go even when we didn't want to. Now, to be fair, I was in my mid-teens at this point, and as teens do, we got a little rowdy over text. Now my EPs had access to chat logs for my phone. They saw I was being this way with my partner. Also learning of them being a furry and me being pan, they didn't realize I was trans yet. They forced us apart and demanded to the youth leaders that we stayed separated, as well as using my phony to text my partner saying, "I found Jesus and no longer want anything to do with you or furries." They did this to my Discord friends and family too, causing my friends to become fearful of my account. I lost so much that day. I was shattered in more ways than one due to the buildup of trauma and the mask I had to wear. I developed DID. I had disassociated enough to where my protector emerged, who bore the weight of the mask, while I dealt with everything else. 2 more years of hell, and I decided since I was 18 I'd go to my first furry convention, Anthro Northwest. I had a fursuit ordered. I was so excited I took a bus to the city. It was in. I was so happy. Everything was going well until the 6th hour. As I was getting ready for bed, I see an email from my parents. I had told them I was hanging out with a friend for the weekend. They knew I was at the convention, and they told me if I didn't leave outside and go to them, they would have the police pull me out, and being afraid, I left. On the way home, I was extremely out of it. Up to this point, I had several panic attacks from the abuse my EPs inflicted on me, and that night was the worst one. They threw my phone into traffic, making me lose everything important to me: emails, texts, Discord accounts. I had lost it all, and the day that followed was worse. In the morning, I found my fursuit torn to shreds and drowned in bleach. I saved a singular paw, though. That same day they beat me and tried to cast a demon out of me. I was atheist at this point, as well as forcing me to read the Bible for the whole day, and the days after going back to work on Tuesday was terrible. My coworkers saw me in my worst state. My EPs got me fired that same month by withholding my work phone, as it's against policy not to have it with you at work. My EPs claimed that God wanted me to lose my job to focus on Him and get back on the right path so I would turn from sin. They did this for status in the church, having me make lessons for the youth, and used me as a popularity puppet. Now then, this year's hopefully final encounter with them. Since that incident, I had kept my secrets closer than ever. I got a new job, so I got bold one day and bought a new phone and phone line. I was 19 at the time. They get a bill in the mail addressed to me from Verizon. They had found out about the phone. And that night, my EM storms into the back rooms of the store to force me to get my phone from my locker. I was so scared I blanked out, letting my protector have control for some time. One of my closest friends and co-workers saw what was happening and got a manager who kicked out my EM from the store after telling my EM that I was not coming home again. My mask fell and I broke into tears. My plan to move out came too early. I was homeless and terrified to my core. A few weeks later, I'm renting from a friend, basically being their roommate. My parents try to get into contact and even follow me home a few times, thinking I wouldn't notice them in their emails. They said that I was their son, that they raised for 20 years, so I should listen to every word they say, and that I'm indebted to them for adopting me from my abusive bio mom. I didn't know her or remember her. I ended up blocking their numbers today since I was tired of it. They had withheld my ID over the past 3 months and I was tired of them being shit, so I went no contact.